Hello and welcome back to the Toffee YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name is Thomas and we're back with the part 2 of our Diego Simeone at Everton simulation on Football Manager. Thank you for all support on the last video, it was greatly appreciated. And today we're going to be looking at the next season, whether Simeone stays, how the club get on in the Champions League, and any interesting signings they might make. And as you can see straight away in the top right of your screen, we've skipped to the 14th of September, just before the Champions League begins. Simeone is still manager, and the key player, Jack Grealish. So we can go over and take a look at transfers now. The club opted to sign Sidibe on a full transfer for £14 million. Grealish was brought in for £41.5 million, potentially rising to 52. A player called Anderson came in from Bayern Munich's second team, who plays on the right wing, a young player. And then Keith Mantham from Coventry, who's a regen and he plays a striker. Transfers out, Seamus Coleman left to PSV for a potential cost of £9.5 million. Matthew Pennington went to Reading for £1.2 million. And other than that, no major transfers other than Bernard going to West Ham on loan, Tosin going to Legia Warsaw on loan, Walcott going to Bursaspor on loan. A lot of loans here, not many permanent transfers. Kenny going to Girona and De Silvestri going to Granada. And then, other than that, Besic went to Aston Villa on loan. Another interesting thing about that Seamus Coleman transfer is he actually played his testimonial here, you can say, against PSV, which Everton won 2-0, and then obviously decided to join the club full time. As you can see here, Community Shield, obviously after winning the FA Cup, Everton lost to Manchester City, who they beat in the FA Cup final. A Calvert-Lewin brace late on wasn't enough to stop the 3-2 loss. Other than that, wins against Sheffield United, West Ham and Manchester City in the league, and then back-to-back draws against Norwich and Newcastle. And you might have seen a quick peek at who might be in the Champions League group, which you can take a look at now. Champions League group, very difficult. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich and Inter Milan. So a very difficult group there for Everton back in the Champions League for the first time in quite a while. The Carabao Cup third round against Birmingham. That'll be coming up in a couple of weeks from this point. And then the FA Cup has not been drawn yet, but so far, as you can see, in the Premier League, Everton are third, 3 wins and 2 draws, no losses yet, finishing on 11 points. Only a 5-goal difference compared to top of the table Liverpool on 12, but only 4 points behind them at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So I'm going to skip to the end of January now. There'll be a couple of Bundesliga, a couple of Champions League games, obviously that game against Birmingham, and we'll see if any more summer transfers get made and whether any January transfers get made as well. Hello and welcome back. We have skipped ahead a few days to Everton's first Champions League game. We're going to watch through it, see the highlights. As you can see, in the first game of the group, Real Madrid beat Inter Milan 1-0 with a late Karim Benzema goal. But Everton are about to play Bayern Munich here. See if we can replicate with the famous night at Goodison Park. We're going to go through the highlights now, see if we can get a result, see what the tactics are, and let's just get into it. As you can see here, the teams have popped up. Everton opting for a 4-2-3-1. Pickford in goal, Digne and Sidibe the fullbacks, with Holgate and Mina in the middle. A midfield partnership of Sigurdsson and Gomez sitting, with Jack Grealish in the 10, Iwobi off the left, Pedro off the right, and Richarlison at striker. In comparison, Bayern Munich have opted for more of a 4-1-2-3, with Lewandowski up front, Coutinho and Tizagankov, I want to say, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that name, Tolisso and Thiago, and Kimmich form the 3 midfield with Alaba and Hernandez, Pavard and Neuer playing as well. So let's just get into the game. We'll watch a couple of the highlights, see if Everton can nick a result away from home against Bayern Munich in our first Champions League game. Straight away, highlight for Bayern Munich, 1 minute in here. Kimmich with the ball kind of deep into Everton's half. Tolisso now going to play the ball out right, with the cross going to come in. And Lewandowski straight away with a header inside 2 minutes. Lewandowski's 4th goal of the season, and Everton have already fallen behind in their first Champions League game. Bayern Munich 1, Everton 0. Another highlight here for Bayern Munich, Lewandowski down the right wing. Now they're going to try and put in a cross again to Lewandowski, but his header this time grazes the bar, and that remains 1-0. A free kick for Coutinho here into the box, and then headed in by Lewandowski, I think that is. But I think it's been pulled back for offside, so that's not going to count, and it stays 1-0, but the warning signs are definitely there for an absolute thrashing coming here from Bayern Munich. Now, an Everton free kick, Pedro whips in a ball to the back post. Gomez controls it inside the box, back to Pedro, who's going to fire one across goal to Iwobi, who fires it in the bottom right corner, and that is 1-1. Growing into the game here a bit, Everton, the stats are coming more in our favour, and that was a well-worked goal. Gomez taking the ball down there, you can see on the replay, back to Pedro, who fires it across the box, and Iwobi free at the back post. And that's about half time, so we'll take a quick look at the stats. Bayern obviously playing slightly better, 9 shots, 4 on target compared to Everton's 3 with 2 on target. Bayern with a great possession of 57%. But as you can see here, Iwobi is currently the best player on the pitch with an 8.2 rating and Digne a 6.3 because he made the mistake that led to the goal. Let's get into the second half here, see if Everton can potentially stay out a draw or even maybe nick a win in the first game. Gbamin there has come on for Pedro at half time, so a slight change of formation. An Everton highlight here, Mina sprays the ball out away, but then that's easily collected. Now Pavard coming into the Everton half, played it down the right hand side, back inside to Joshua Kimmich. Now a good possession from Bayern Munich here. Alba's going to come down the left, potentially playing the ball, but he chooses to go back to Tolisso, and then Tolisso out wide. Potentially another cross coming here, but a good patient possession play. Now they're going to play the ball across, but no, back to Thiago again, who fires it just wide of the far post, and that's a let off for Everton, who haven't come into this half at all here. And there we have it in the first game. Everton have managed to hold on to a 1-1 draw, which is brilliant away to Bayern Munich. No shots in the second half for Everton, with Bayern Munich having 15 shots and 5 on target in total. Everton did go into possession a bit more, but were not creating any chances with 17 total fouls. Quite a Simeone performance. Alex Iwobi getting man of the match with Richarlison and Coutinho tying for the worst players on the pitch. And now we're going to skip to the end of January, as we said. We'll be able to look back at how Everton get on in the first couple of games after this in the Champions League and any potential January transfers. So we'll be back in a moment. News, players, registration. Hello and welcome back. We have skipped to the end of the January transfer window to see how the Champions League went, how the group stage went, whether we're still in it or not. Look at some potentially January transfers in and out and how the rest of the Premier League season has gone. So we'll take a quick look at transfers first, and as you can see, no transfers in the January transfer window, but in terms of transfers out, Morgan Schneiderlin has joined Arsenal Tula in the Russian Premier League. Josh Bowler has joined Bristol City. And other than that, no other major transfers. However, Moise Keane will be joining Cincinnati on loan, I believe it is. Yeah, Cincinnati made a loan offer for Keane, which Everton, I believe, have accepted. So he will probably be leaving in the coming days. We can take a quick look now at competitions, and as you will see on your screen, knocked out in the group stage of the Champions League. After the group stage, actually, because I've already looked at it. Everton managed to draw 5 games and lose 1, meaning they finished on 5 points, 1 point behind Bayern Munich in third, which would have qualified them for the Europa League this season and qualifying from the group Inter Milan and Real Madrid. Interestingly enough, Everton actually only lost the same amount of games as Inter Milan, who topped the group, but obviously those 5 draws against the teams. No wins at all, a -1 goal difference, so Everton did crash out of the Champions League, disappointingly. In the Premier League, they have dropped to 5th after 25 games, 45 points. In the Carabao Cup, they were knocked out in the semi-final against Chelsea, and are through into the 5th round of the FA Cup against Chelsea as well. So we take a quick look at the schedule from where we left off. So we left off here, then a win against Manchester United and Huddersfield in the league, and through in the Carabao Cup third round, and then a draw 2-2 with Real Madrid at home, before a loss in the Premier League to Chelsea, wins in the Premier League against Leicester, Wolves and Brighton, as well as a Carabao Cup fourth round victory against Tottenham 3-0, with a draw against Inter Milan, the Champions League obviously, and then the loss coming against Inter Milan a few weeks later, 3-2 at home, backed up by another loss against Arsenal 2-1 before beating Fulham and Southampton and drawn again in the Champions League to Bayern Munich 3-3. Then a lot of games in December, drawn against Tottenham, beating Bournemouth, then drawn against Real Madrid, winning against Leeds, who have been promoted to the Premier League from last season, winning in the quarter-final against Bournemouth 4-1, and then a disappointing string of results, back-to-back draws against Burnley and Liverpool before a loss to Wolves. Then a win in the third round against Hull, before losing and drawing the next 4 games against Chelsea twice and then Huddersfield and Leicester before beating Liverpool in the Merseyside derby in the Premier League with a Calvert-Lewin penalty. Beating Preston in the 4th round of the FA Cup, but then losing the Carabao Cup second leg against Chelsea and then losing to West Ham. So we can take a quick look at tactics as well. The last time we saw it was a 4-2-3-1 and that hasn't changed. So the teams remained largely the same, but with Calvert-Lewin up front and Richarlison off the right, with Pedro now being on the bench. So we're going to skip to the end of the season now. Obviously, no more European competitions. We'll see how the FA Cup goes, potentially back-to-back FA Cups for Everton. No Europa League, no Champions League, but we'll see where they finish in the Premier League and if Simeone stays until the end of the season. So we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back. As you can see on your screens, we're at the end of the year, and as Everton have not qualified for the Champions League. They finished in 5th, which is a Europa League spot, 4 points ahead of Arsenal in 6th. Everton having 19 wins, 9 draws and 10 losses. And as you can see, Manchester City have won the league again. I think they may have won the quadruple. Yeah, you can see here. So they've won the Premier League, the Carabao Cup, the Super Cup and the Community Shield. And also, as you can see, some great news here. Klopp has been sacked by Liverpool. Liverpool finishing in 3rd, qualified for the Champions League, but that wasn't good enough for the board. Not participating in the title race. Finishing 9 points behind Chelsea there in 2nd, who finished 2 points behind City. So quite a close race in the end, but City just edging it. But we'll go back to Everton here. We can take a quick look at the schedule. Yeah, as you can see, we left off here just in February. A draw against Sheffield United and a loss against Burnley before another win against Leeds 4-1. Beating Chelsea in the FA Cup 5th round, but then going out in the quarter-final against Reading. A very disappointing result away from home. Jordan Pickford getting sent off in that game in the 22nd minute. So quite interesting to say the least. Wins against Bournemouth and Tottenham in the league, though. A loss against Southampton before wins against Fulham, Arsenal and Norwich. And then ending the season in May with losses against Manchester City, Manchester United, and then a draw against Newcastle. So that's it for this season. Europa League next season for Everton, not Champions League again. Obviously, being in the Champions League group of death this year, quite unlucky, and going out after drawing 5 games. But Europa League next year. There were no more major transfers apart from Kieran Dowell joining Crystal Palace for 1.3 million on the 1st of February. No more transfers in. So thank you very much for watching the video. Let us know if you want to see a part 3 of this video. Whether you want to see us go until Diego Simeone is sacked and see Everton in the Europa League, see if they can potentially push on to join in the title race, potentially finishing the Champions League spots again. So thank you very much for your support on all of these videos. It's very much appreciated. Hope you're all well and goodbye.